What's up, everyone? So today's video, we're gonna be doing a couple things. First, I gotta fix a cooling leak on the Viper, so I'm gonna show you guys that. Not that exciting, but I'll show you what's going on. And then we'll assess the damage on the S2000. So as much as we can see and know so far, we'll go through that and let you guys know what's next. So you guys probably remember on the last video that I think it was on the weekend, we had the whole intake manifold off because there was a leak from an old coolant hose that went to this thermostat right here. And we replaced that hose, which comes across to this, if you guys can see it, I hope, comes across to this hard pipe right here. And this one that runs across goes all the way over and does a weird loop-de-doo thing here in the back and goes to the heater core. But what happened is, I guess the bottom of this hose, or this metal hard hose, is a little bit corroded from this leaking, I think, over the years, just because the hose was, the rubber hose was a little bit old, and I think it just kind of led to a little bit of corrosion on the outside. I tried cleaning it up when I actually assembled it with some sandpaper without taking it off, but obviously it didn't work. So what we're gonna do, unfortunately, I gotta drain the coolant again. At least, you know, take it below the top of the engine level, and we're gonna have to pop this off. So the reason why I have to pop it off right now is I'm gonna take it off, see if it's something that I can maybe clean up, and if I can't, then I gotta try to find one of these things. And apparently there's a few different versions of this hard pipe, so I've been asked to take it off, or at least take a picture of it. So that's what we're gonna do. So airbox coming off, we're gonna drain the coolant down there. Same as before, I gotta jack it up a bit because this thing is so dang low. Like, I can't even fit the camera underneath it. That's how low this thing is. It's literally 2.5 inches off the ground. It's really low. But yeah, I gotta jack it up a tiny bit so that I can get the pan under there. We'll drain it and then we'll tackle it. It should be enough. Kick this under here. All right, that's enough. I'm gonna just rip off the airbox. You guys remember how easy it is. It's really easy, you know, surprisingly, on this car. So it's just those 3 speed clips. Spin those off, take off these 2 hoses. This one, that other hose on the side, this one sensor wire, and the airbox will come flying out of here. So let's take it out. Well, that is off, so the hard pipe is out. It wasn't that exciting, honestly, so that's why I kind of spared you guys the fun part. But holy crap, it's like, you keep touching things on this old car and it just keeps going. So this is the reason why I had to remove that, is because, see that kind of corrosion there? It was just dripping out of there. It was actually this one, which this one looks, if this thing wants to focus. This one looks the cleanest out of all of them, but I mean, still inside looks nasty. But this one wasn't leaking, but I will guarantee you, if I try to put this back on, that thing is gonna leak for sure. So I'm gonna see if I can locate one of these. It's a little bit difficult to find one. Like I said, this is the hard line that goes across where the valve covers are. I'm gonna see if I can find one. One of the recyclers had asked me to take a picture of it so that they could try to locate me one, and that's what we're gonna do. So now I got those pictures. Now let's talk about the S2000. So I guess we'll start at the back because that's probably the cleanest part. Obviously we need to do something with this rebar. I'm gonna sit in this seat here, why not? So the rebar portion of it, it's honestly, you probably don't necessarily have to change it. This part here, just on the corner, is pushed in. I might just try to just pull this end of the rebar back out, because most of the structural part of the rebar is in the center here, maybe a little bit on the corner, but I mean, it's all gonna be hidden. The rebar is still there, it's not pushed in too much. I might just try to pull it out a little bit, or even just leave it and put the bumper on. This is definitely gonna have to be attended to. Yeah, so it's not even an expensive exhaust, it was just something that somebody welded up. You can see the welded hanger broke off, and it's just all just kind of like an exhaust shop, like in and out quick job. It's just I think they just chopped off the original mufflers and put these little fart cans on there, so I'm not too worried about that. honestly, I'm probably gonna go with just stock mufflers. I don't really like, personally, there's only one exhaust that I like on these, and it's really loud and probably would get you pulled over out this way. And that is the Jay's Racing titanium exhaust, which I had on the last one, but it's loud. It sounds amazing, but it's just loud, and it's not stock looking whatsoever. It's, you know, it's got a burnt blue tip. The whole exhaust is literally titanium, but I'm probably just gonna put stock exhaust on this. Maybe we'll put an intake so it sounds good when you get on it, but you know, we're just cruising. It's quiet, so we stay out of trouble with it. And on the back, like I said, not too much going on. Trunk lid is perfect. Even the gaps are good. So everything lines up on the trunk lid. You know, all the gaps are perfect. Doesn't matter what side we're on. We're good there. Both taillights are still good. So taillights are good. Nothing happened there. And the back portion of the rear quarters, you know, around the taillight, all good. I think actually on this side, there might be some little damage. Yeah. So right here on the back quarter, this is just bent in ever so slightly, but we can just bend this out. Like I can even get behind it. So we'll just tweak that back out, but really not a big deal. But everywhere else is good. And I guess we'll start working our way around clockwise. So this part here, obviously this quarter and these quarters are welded on the vehicle. So that makes it a little bit more difficult. But here is the plan. So you could, you know, do it goon squad style where, you know, remove the whole panel, or you guys have probably seen enough YouTubers doing that. Well, they'll sit there and drill out every single spot weld, take it off, put a new panel on. But since we're going to be tracking this thing, there is a ton of over fenders, and you know, we're going to turn this into essentially like almost a race car, you know, street legal and streetable race car that we can bring to the track. So I'm going to end up just getting over fenders. I'm not sure which ones I want to get, but all the over fenders, they'll start here. They come up, they generally follow this body line, and then they swoop back down over here. So literally all this damage is going to be hidden behind an over fender. There's a little bit of a dent, which you can see my light following the dent. See it? So if you guys are new to body work, if you ever see the light refract a different way, like look, over here is pretty good, and then all of a sudden, whoop, that's because there's a huge dent there. So this dent, once we do the over fenders, we're probably gonna end up cutting a lot of this out to make clearance for wider wheels with the over fenders. But when I cut this, I'll be able to get behind this to relieve this dent, and probably won't have to do too much on this side, fortunately. So that's gonna be the plan for that. Like I said, over fenders there, I just don't know which ones. This door is clean, only except for this tiny little spot here, and most of it's going to be hidden. I might just try to bend this little spot back, and like I said, it's really not much there at all, but then there's a trim that's going to cover that. So I might just have to sand that, put some primer on it so it doesn't rust. And I don't know what we're going to do as far as color, but we'll deal with that when we cross there. This fender was demolished, so it was removed. Not too much to say there. I think I still have to go pick up a few of the parts for it, but I think the front bumper should be okay. Samson was telling me that there was some sort of mark on this side on it, but I haven't seen it yet, so we'll have to assess that once we get it. The hood, it's sitting funny right now, but the hood's actually not bent. The reason why it's sitting funny is because this hood hinge is super bent. Because of that impact when it fell on this side, the hood hinge got pushed up. So that's why the hood's sitting funny. And unfortunately, the hood got a tiny bit of damage right here. So these hoods, if you guys don't know, on these S2000s, they're aluminum. So it sustained a small tear there. I don't have anything to weld here, but it might be something we have to get into. But this is definitely repairable. I mean, we could just kind of smooth this out. Bend it back, and you know, whether we decide to weld it or not, we could probably salvage the hood if we really wanted to. Working on to this side, obviously this fender was toast. This was one of the ones that took the main damage because it fell on this side and on this fender. So that fender got removed. So we're gonna need a couple fenders. Headlights, I kind of went past them. The headlights are actually good. They're a little bit faded. Which is pretty common for these, but they need to be cleaned up. For some reason, there's one little mark here. I don't know if this is from before or whether there's some sort of pressure that was put on for, like, I don't know if the lift hit this, but there's a little weird mark in the headlight there. It's probably not going to really matter, but it's not perfect just for that reason. This one looks pretty clean, but again, just needs to be polished for sure, which we'll do. We'll polish both of them. That little mark, we'll see if we can live with it when we're in better shape here, but we got bigger problems right now. And the door, I'm supposed to be picking up a door either tonight or tomorrow. So this one is toast. Yeah, it landed right on the door pretty well. So the door ended up being toast, but all the guts and stuff, luckily the glass is still good. And we're gonna transfer the guts of this door onto the new door that I'm gonna get. And it should pretty much bolt up. Like everything, like the door is still lined up with the body lines. The only thing, I think, I'll have to compare it once I get it off. But yeah, see, you can probably see that little indent right there. So this hood hinge should be sitting flat. Like you probably see this bottom one sitting flat, I hope, with the camera. But this hood hinge is kind of just bent in ever so slightly. You can probably see the compression right there. So I think before we take the door off, or before we take the hinges off, I'm gonna have to tug on this hinge a little bit just to bring this back is what I'm hoping. So just so we can bring it back into alignment, we'll try to straighten this out a little bit. I'm not sure if it'll matter too much. Honestly, it might, but we'll have to do something as far as alignment on that top hinge. The bottom one's fine. Top one, we're gonna have to play with this plate, just hopefully straightening it a bit. And same thing with this quarter. So this quarter panel, we're gonna do the same thing. Unfortunately, it did get this kink here. So we're going to, here's the plan. So like I said, if we're doing the over fender theme, there's no damage past here, which the over fenders should swoop through here. Not that high, but they'll swoop through here. You can see this body line. They'll come through here and then down. So this will all be covered through here, with the exception of this. So when we do the over fenders and we end up cutting out this section so that we have the clearance for the wheel, we'll get behind there and we'll work this as best as we can and get it up, and then we'll have to use some body filler and get this looking nice. But it's not too bad. Like it's off maybe 1/4 of an inch or so, but we're definitely gonna have to pop this back up, but we'll be able to get in there. Like these things have welded fenders in the rear, so it's hard to get anything in there, but with us cutting this open so that we can put that fender flare on there, we'll be able to get behind to push this out. And I mean, the door still opens and whatnot, but you can see here, so it kind of just buckled a little bit there. So like I said, we'll have to get behind there, try to push this down and try to work this up as best as we can. But again, we'll see how we make out. If worst comes to worst, we can always replace this quarter, but I think it's a lot more work than necessary. We're not trying to make a show car here. We're just trying to go have some fun with this thing and make it look decent. So I don't know, things could change later, but we'll see. Like I said, this door closes, but we really have to slam it to get it to go. The soft top didn't sustain any damage. And I thought, when I originally saw the video, I thought that this was gonna be an issue. But as you can see, it doesn't have a single scratch on the A-pillar. And it's good, so it's not bent or anything. The windshield, I think just from the shock or impact, or maybe with this fender, maybe it hit here, but did get a crack here on the windshield, so we'll have to get a windshield eventually. And that's pretty much it, you guys. I mean, it's really not that bad a shape. I know some people were thinking it was a lot worse, but it really isn't. This thing I think got tweaked a little bit. I think got pushed a little bit. We can bend this back. It's not a big deal. The wheel, somebody obviously painted them black, the previous owner, I think Supercar Suspects guys, they painted these, so that got a little scuff, but really not a big deal. I think they just rattle can them, to be honest. I haven't watched their video, but I think they just rattle can them. So that will be about it. Nice thing is it does have glass in the back, and it does have higher miles, you guys. I don't know if you guys know the history on the car, but I'm gonna have to put the seats back in, clean up all this junk or whatever crap that's left behind in here, and we'll clean it. That's what we're gonna do this weekend, is really clean it and start tearing it down and getting into it. For some reason, the center console was missing also, so I'm gonna have to find a center console and put that together. They also took the shifter out, which is down here on the floor. That's the ball of it, and the shift knob's there. So we got some stuff, but I was about to order the clutch, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do a clutch and flywheel, or what kind of clutch. I kind of want to pop this out to see what's in there. Maybe somebody's already put a different flywheel. The car has 130,000 miles on it, so it's definitely not low mileage. Not the highest, but not the lowest. Again, we're just gonna use this to go have some fun at the track, so it should be good for what we want to do. All right, you guys, so that's gonna do it for today's video. As far as what we're gonna get, like parts-wise, I'm kind of in between on which rear over fenders to do and also which front fenders. So let me know in the comments what you guys would want to see. I'm debating between the spoon rear over fenders or the ASMs. Those are kind of the two that I have in mind. I know there's some other ones that are kind of like Liberty Walk looking, but I'm not sure if I want to go that route because they're really wide and I don't want to make it too obnoxious. The ASM ones, they only kind of stick out about an inch or so, inch and a half. They're not too ridiculous looking, but I've seen some ones that look cool from a side profile, but from the back, they're like sitting out some insane amount. As for the front, I'm thinking either spoon front fenders or the J's Racing are kind of the two I have in mind if I can't find OEM ones. But I think the fact that we're missing the fenders is a good opportunity to upgrade them to something cooler. But let me know what you guys think. Front bumper, we'll have to assess what the stock one looks like, but also I was thinking spoon as well. I know the spoon front bumper is a love-hate thing. Some people love it. Some people think it's the worst and ugliest thing they've ever seen. But I don't know. I think the spoon S2000, like the official one, the one that Spoon built, was yellow. So I think it'd be cool to kind of replicate that. But we'll see where things go. We just need some parts on this thing and put it back together. But again, let me know if you guys see any parts for cheap, or you guys have any ideas or which way you want to see it go, and we'll try to make it happen. All right, guys, if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you're stopping in for the first time, make sure to smash that subscribe button and hit that bell as well so it turns on your post notifications and you're notified of all the latest videos, because you won't want to miss this. It's going to be fun, I promise, as well as all the other builds we have going on. Anyways, you guys, thanks again for watching. See you on the next video.